Under pressure from the Trump administration, Apple has removed an app from its App Store used to track sightings of ICE agents. And a pastor at a megachurch in Texas has pleaded guilty to child sexual abuse. Good morning, I'm Janine Herbst from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Senators plan to take another vote today on a short-term funding proposal as the government shutdown enters its third day. This as both sides blame the other for the impasse. Democrats want a deal on extending health subsidies for the Affordable Care Act plans that are set to expire soon. Republicans argue those subsidies are too expensive. Meanwhile, the shutdown means that the monthly government jobs report won't be released today. NPR's Scott Horsley has more.
Means that labor economists can sleep in a little bit, especially those on the West Coast. They typically have to be at their computers at 5:30 a.m. Pacific time to digest this potentially market-moving information about how many jobs were added or subtracted in each industry and what happened to the workforce and whether the unemployment rate moved up or down. The monthly jobs report is one of the government's most closely watched economic releases.
NPR's Scott Horsley. And the inflation report due out in a couple of weeks could be delayed as well because government price checkers would be gathering the information for that report right now. Apple says it's removed services from its App Store used for anonymously reporting U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents. NPR's Bobby Allen reports it follows the Trump administration's pressuring the tech company to block the app.
The creators of ICEBlock describe it as Waze, but for ICE sightings. It shot to the top of App Store charts this summer amid the Trump administration's stepped-up immigration enforcement. Now, Apple says the app can no longer be downloaded on iPhones, saying it poses a risk to law enforcement. Apple's action comes shortly after Attorney General Pam Bondi claimed the app is designed to put ICE agents at risk just for doing their jobs. The developer of ICEBlock says the intention was not to harm law enforcement, but to serve as an early warning system. Since January, the number of ICE arrests has risen sharply, with triple the number of arrests in some states compared to last year. Bobby Allen, NPR News.
Sean Combs, the hip-hop singer turned music mogul, is due in federal court today for a sentencing hearing. Bruce Conviser reports Combs was convicted this summer on charges related to prostitution.
On the eve of his court appearance, Combs sent a letter to the judge saying he's a changed man and begged for mercy. Combs, also known as Diddy and Puff Daddy, was found guilty of hiring male sex workers to have prolonged sex sessions with two of his former girlfriends. He was acquitted of more serious charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. The 55-year-old is expected to address the court. Combs' defense lawyers are asking that he be sentenced to 14 months in prison. With time served since his arrest, that means he would be free before the end of the year. Prosecutors are expected to ask for a minimum of 11 years, noting, among other things, abusive behavior towards his ex-girlfriends. For NPR News, I'm Bruce Conviser in New York.
Fire crews are battling massive flames at a Chevron refinery just outside of Los Angeles that can be seen for miles. Officials in El Segundo, about a mile from LAX airport, urged people to stay indoors last night, but say there's no immediate threat to public safety and no evacuations. Chevron says there were no injuries, all personnel are accounted for, and that a monitoring system indicated that the fire did not move beyond the facility's fence line. The cause of the blaze is under investigation. The founding pastor of a Texas megachurch has pleaded guilty to 5 counts of child sexual abuse. As Penelope Rivera from member station KERA reports, the allegations date back to the 1980s.
Robert Morris started Gateway Church in 2000 and built it into one of the largest congregations in the country. Following his guilty plea, he was given a 10-year sentence, but will only serve 6 months in jail in Oklahoma, where the abuse took place. He will also be required to register as a lifetime sex offender and pay $270,000 to the victim, Cindy Clemishire. Clemishire went public about the abuse she endured from Morris in June of 2024. Since then, Gateway has faced a drop in attendance and donations and multiple lawsuits. Clemishire said the abuse started when she was 12 and lasted more than 4 years. For NPR News, I'm Penelope Rivera in Dallas.
In Germany, Munich airport was forced to close for nearly 7 hours overnight after a wave of drone sightings nearby. As NPR's Rob Schmitz reports, it's the latest airport in Europe to shut down over unexplained drone flights.
The airport said in a statement that at least 17 flights were grounded overnight, impacting 3,000 passengers, while airport officials diverted 15 additional flights to other airports in the region. The airport reopened at 5 in the morning local time when arrivals and departures were again deemed safe. Munich is not alone. Last week, several airports in Denmark were forced to close for the same reason. Denmark later banned all civil drones as it hosted a summit of European leaders to discuss support for Ukraine as well as a potential drone wall initiative, a layered network of interception systems. Europe has been on alert due to a string of sightings and incursions by Russian drones into NATO airspace. Rob Schmitz, NPR News, Berlin.
Large protests continue in countries around the world against Israel's offensive against Hamas in Gaza. In Europe, the biggest protests have been in Italy, where labor unions have called for a national strike over the war in Gaza. NPR's Ruth Sherlock has more from the demonstration in Rome.
People in the crowd here tell me they feel this is a moment to say enough is enough. And it also marks a stark difference in opinion that the public feels compared to Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's position. Meloni heavily criticised the activists on the global Samud flotilla to Gaza, even saying that their actions could complicate a peace deal.
NPR's Ruth Sherlock reporting. Hamas says it's still studying President Trump's 20-point plan to end the war in Gaza and chart a new future for the territory in which the militant group is disarmed. NPR's Aya Batrawi has more.
Hamas official Mohammed Nazal told Al Jazeera the group is not viewing Trump's plan with a, quote, black or white mindset and is looking at gray areas where there could be movement. He says the priority is ending the, quote, genocide in Gaza, but that Hamas will not accept a take-it-or-leave-it ultimatum. He says Hamas has many comments on Trump's plan that need further explanation. Mediators Egypt and Qatar say they're urging Hamas to respond positively to Trump's plan, but senior officials from both countries have also said the plan needs more discussion around what follows the release of Israeli hostages, particularly around issues of governance and security in Gaza. For example, Egypt's foreign minister says there must be a clear mandate and a UN Security Council resolution for the deployment of Arab forces in Gaza after the war. Aya Batrawi, NPR News, Dubai.
Singer-songwriter Taylor Swift dropped her 12th studio album at midnight, The Life of a Showgirl.
Thank you for the lovely bouquet. I'm married to the hustle and now.
That's her title track of the same name. There are 12 tracks on the album, and fans will get a chance to attend release parties around the country this weekend after Swift announced AMC Theaters will premiere her video for The Fate of Ophelia, along with behind-the-scenes video and explanations of the inspirations for her songs. I'm Janine Herbst, NPR News in Washington.